Now at 5, the Joplin Fire Department's inspecting businesses to see if they're up to code. Plus, we're going to break down some myths about exercise that could keep you from following through on your New Year's resolutions. And
the U.S. has reached its $31.4 trillion debt limit. I'm Nicole D'Antonio on Capitol Hill with the impact on the economy if Congress doesn't act.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Every year, the Joplin Fire Department tries to inspect all businesses in the city, and some of those inspections were today. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Dow Quick. According to Captain Grimes, the purpose of the inspections is to make sure the property, employees, and customers are safe. Each of the 6 fire departments in Joplin will inspect 100 to 200 businesses per year.
Gives us the ability to pre-plan the buildings, get an idea of what the business layout is if we have an emergency there. Also, it's a good idea to, if you want to be talking to somebody about their facility.
The Joplin Fire Department says if the business has anything that needs to be added or changed after the inspection, the business normally has 14 days to make those changes. Tax season's almost here, which means so are the scammers. The Better Business Bureau says tax scams are some of the most common out there right now. They generally take form as the scammers pretend to be with the IRS, asking for personal information to fix an issue with taxes. The regional director of the BBB says the IRS will always contact you with a letter first before other means.
So you just want to be careful and not share any personal information with unsolicited phone calls. You want to take your time. That's what scammers are counting on. They're counting on that little bit of fear, that rush to take care of a problem, that you won't take the time to do the research and figure out who's actually calling.
Another tip to avoid scams: get your taxes filed as soon as possible so scammers can't file a fake one in your name. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy for.
Well, it's definitely turned out to be a cooler day for us today. We were upper 50s to near 60 yesterday, and then we dropped back lower 30s. We've kind of been hanging out into lower 40s through most of the day. You can see 41 Nevada, 41 Neosho, 45 in Miami. Chanute is sitting at about 43 degrees. It's also been windy. We've had these westerly winds all day long. These are going to start to calm down as we go through the evening into the overnight hours for us tonight, which is always good news. All right, we do have partly cloudy skies outside, and this is what we're going to see as we go through the evening hours, but clouds starting to increase back across parts of Oklahoma and then down into Texas. That's the beginnings of our next storm system, which will affect us by the time we head into the weekend. We're going to have those details here in just a bit.
See you soon. The U.S. has reached its debt ceiling limit, forcing the Treasury Department to take steps to avoid defaulting. Now it's up to Congress to raise the debt limit, but some lawmakers plan to hold out until they see changes made to future spending, setting up a showdown that could put a strain on the U.S. economy. Reporter Nicole D'Antonio has more details from Capitol Hill.
The Treasury Department says it can no longer legally borrow to pay the debts Congress has already incurred and is asking lawmakers to raise the debt ceiling. Secretary Janet Yellen sent Congress a letter explaining some of the extraordinary measures the department is taking to prevent the U.S. from defaulting on debt, including shifting money between accounts and putting a temporary hold on some federal employee retirement payments and health funds for retired postal workers. That gives Congress until June 5th to raise the ceiling.
Why wouldn't we sit down now, set a budget, set a path to get us to a balanced budget?
House Republicans, especially those who demanded concessions to elect Kevin McCarthy Speaker, say they want spending cuts before they'll agree to raise the debt limit. Democrats say some things are non-negotiable.
There can be spending cuts. Let's talk about them, but never on Social Security, Medicare.
Even the back and forth here on Capitol Hill over raising the debt ceiling can have economic fallout that impacts us all.
Just go back to 2011, the last time we had a big impasse. The stock market went down by 14% over 4 weeks. The bond market went berserk and borrowing costs increased. We were looking at job losses and it did take time to recover.
CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger says the battle over the debt ceiling could push the economy into recession.
We're already slowing down after this post-pandemic recovery. This is not the moment to have a fight like this.
House Speaker McCarthy and President Biden have yet to discuss their differences on raising the debt limit. Nicole D'Antonio, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
The White House says Congress has already agreed to the debts incurred, so it should raise the debt limit to pay the bills with no strings attached. Prosecutors in Santa Fe announced today they'll file criminal charges against actor Alec Baldwin and a crew member in connection with the fatal 2021 shooting of a cinematographer on the set of the Western film Rust. Actor Alec Baldwin was holding the gun that went off during a rehearsal, killing cinematographer Halen Hutchins. Baldwin and armorer Hannah Gutierrez Reed will each be charged with 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter. Still ahead, a look at how businesses are taking advantage of the growing popularity of non-alcoholic cocktails. And next in Health Watch, we're going to pull back the curtain on some common exercise myths. Topping today's Health Watch, nearly half of U.S. adults say the nation's healthcare system has, quote, major problems. That's according to the latest Gallup report released today. For the first time in 20 years, the number of adults who rated the system as poor jumped above 20%. Those who rated the quality of the U.S. healthcare system as excellent or good dropped below 50%. Satisfaction has remained high among adults age 55 and up, but declined among young and middle-aged adults. New research in the Journal of the European Society of Cardiology suggests COVID-19 patients should be monitored well after recovery. Researchers studying COVID-19 patients before there was a vaccine available found they were more likely to die from the disease in the first weeks after infection or develop major cardiovascular disease months later compared to uninfected individuals. A recent study found more than 110,000 deaths could be prevented per year in the U.S. if adults over age 40 spent an additional 10 minutes a day engaged in physical activity. So what's holding back Americans when it comes to getting active? Well, it could be what you don't know. Exercise can boost energy, promote weight loss, improve sleep, and lessen your risk for a slew of health conditions. But there are a lot of myths about physical activity that could prevent you from reaping the full benefits. The first fallacy, lifting heavy weights will cause women to bulk up. The truth is, women have lower levels of testosterone, so they won't build massive muscles. Another myth, you can reduce fat in a specific area. You can't control what part of your body burns fat. Also, if you've been told to stick with one type of activity, you've been misinformed. That's because your body gets used to it.
Switch it up. If you're running all the time, take a break and do Pilates and then go back to it.
Another myth, running is bad for your knees. Northwestern Medicine says that regular running strengthens the joints and protects against osteoarthritis. Also, you might have heard that you need to stretch before a workout, but this is untrue. It's more effective to stretch after a workout when your muscles are warm. The notion that exercise will offset a bad diet is also false. Diet and nutrition typically play a larger role than exercise when it comes to weight management. And if you've been told results from exercise come quickly, think again.
When you're involved in the gym, you're probably looking at 4 to 6 weeks before you should honestly begin to start to see some changes.
Another common myth is that you have to sweat to have a good workout. Factors like temperature, humidity, and your hydration levels may affect how much you sweat. Additionally, some people's bodies are just more efficient at cooling themselves, so they sweat less. Danish researchers say they've identified a link between premature birth and cognitive ability. In a large observational study, they found babies born before 34 weeks of pregnancy scored lower in math and language tests as teenagers compared to those born at 40 weeks. Researchers also stress social circumstances may play a role in those outcomes. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, surprising numbers in the Labor Department's latest unemployment reports.
Plus, we have some rain and snow chances in the forecast. We're going to check that out coming up. Well, it turned out to be a chilly, windy one for us today, but at least we got the sun back across the region. Partly sunny skies. Looks good right now. Here's a nice shot of Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri, and we're going to see pretty much clear skies as we go through the rest of the evening hours. It is colder. Look at our 24-hour temperature change. It's 10 to 15 degrees colder outside right now compared to this time last night. And our new drought tracker is out, continues to improve southwestern Missouri, northwest Arkansas. Not much of a drought at all, but still we have the exceptional drought once you get into our far western counties on the Kansas side. So we'll take any rain, snow that we can get. All right, 40 in Stockton, it's 41 in Neosho, it's 45 Miami. Parsons is sitting at 44, 41 in Pittsburgh. So it's chilly, it's windy. We have these westerly winds at about 10 to 20 all day long, gusts higher than that. But the winds will start to calm down just a bit as we go through the evening hours. Nice shot, 7th and range line, outside 42, west winds at 13, humidity is at 58%. Through the evening hours, we slide back through the 30s. It's going to be cold tonight. We bottom out at about 28 a little bit later on tonight. We've had some clouds kind of skirting through, but now working out of the region, so we have pretty much clear skies, but more clouds already filtering in down through Oklahoma and parts of Texas as our next system starts to get organized out across the western parts of the Rockies and will head toward us as we go through about the next 48 hours. All right, let's go through time tonight. Pretty much clear skies, cold, backing into the upper 20s. As we go into Friday, still light northerly wind, near 40 by noon. Most of us will warm into the mid to upper 40s. 45 in Stockton, 47 in Anderson, Miami 48, Pittsburgh 46, Coffeyville up to about 48 degrees. Here's your day planner for you. In the morning, 27, 42 by noon, high temp 47, northerly winds at about 5 to 10. Tomorrow night, clouds will start to increase across the region ahead of that next storm system. As we go through Saturday morning, you can see rain and snow developing in our western counties. This is going to be light snow, Yates Center, Chanute, Fredonia, and then rain once you get into northeastern parts of Oklahoma. And this is an overall weak system. It's not going to drop a lot of moisture, but you can see showers push in. So here's Saturday afternoon, if you're heading north to KC for the Chiefs game, kind of a light rain-snow mix. And you can see this just kind of sticks on top of us, kind of falls apart Saturday evening. May get another little band of a rain-snow mix working in Saturday night into Sunday morning, and then most of this should push out of here by midday on Sunday. If we had any slushy accumulations with the rain-snow mix, it's going to be light. Right now, we'll go a dusting upwards to an inch. Not much in our southern counties, and something that we'll keep our eyes on as we go through the next few days. All right, 46 tomorrow, 43 Saturday, 40 on Sunday with that morning rain snow mixed. Monday 50. We have another system on Tuesday that will give us a potential for rain over to snow. We need to watch the track of that system. It's not real definite yet, but it has a potential to be a bigger system, so we'll watch it.
The potential, huh?
Yes.
All right, I know you'll keep us informed as you can.
Absolutely.
President Biden traveled to California today to visit areas devastated by extreme weather since the new year. It's brought widespread flooding, toppled trees, triggered hundreds of landslides. The president met with first responders, state and local officials, and communities impacted by the devastation. He also assessed what additional federal support is needed. Coming up, the growing popularity of non-alcoholic cocktails. First, though, we honor a local veteran. Orville Scott served in the U.S. Army from 1950 to 1953. The Joplin native was stationed in Korea, and we salute Private Second Class Orville Scott, a four-state hero. Topping today's Consumer Watch, first-time jobless claims fell to 190,000 last week. That's according to newly released data from the Department of Labor. The dip of 15,000 claims was not expected. According to data provider Refinitiv, economists had actually expected the number to rise. The decreased first-time unemployment insurance claims indicate the labor market is still tight, but continuing claims have been on the rise. The U.S. Department of Agriculture is increasing the regulation of organic products for the first time in more than 30 years. The agency is putting, quote, layers of protection around the organic seal. The new rule means more on-site inspections and certification for organic imports, which means businesses will need to show the important parts of their supply chain that are organic. The rule goes into effect on March 20th. Those affected will have a year to comply with the changes. Amazon is accused by federal safety regulators of failing to keep its workers safe at 3 of its U.S. warehouses. OSHA took action after inspecting 3 Amazon facilities in Florida, Illinois, and New York State. OSHA says investigators found work processes such as workers lifting packages that, quote, were designed for speed but not safety and resulted in serious worker injuries. Amazon could face more than $60,000 in proposed penalties. Non-alcoholic drinks are surging in demand as more and more customers are choosing mocktails over traditional beverages, especially during this dry January, while the sober movement is taking place across a lot of the country. Reporter Cole Higgins takes a look at what's behind the trend and how businesses are taking advantage of this wave in popularity.
Non-alcoholic booze. It's one of the fastest growing trends in the adult beverage industry.
This dry January has snowballed into the driest January on record.
Abby Emin, owner of a sober bar in New York, is one of the growing number of business owners cheering on the trend, especially this month. Emin says she's catering beyond a section of consumers who are abstaining from alcohol.
We've run out of everything because the demand's been so high, and trying to reorder has been impossible because they haven't been able to keep up with the demand.
According to Nielsen, sales of non-alcoholic beverages like spirits, beers, wines, and canned mocktails grew 20.6% between August 2021 and August 2022, totaling $395 million. And businesses across the country are taking advantage of the unprecedented demand.
Not drinking has become less of something that you have to explain.
In Grand Rapids, customers are pouring into Alt City NA bottles and beer. The shop's co-owner says business has exceeded expectations as the sober curious movement gains momentum among consumers.
They don't want to consume as much and they want to be mindful about their choices. So it's a super inclusive movement. Keeping product on the shelf has been the biggest challenge so far.
And beverage companies are paying attention. Recently, Molson Coors launched a new booze-free mocktail called Roxy, catering to the growing segment of consumers experimenting with alcohol substitutes. For Consumer Watch, I'm Cole Higgins.
According to Nielsen data, younger Gen Z consumers appear to be less interested in drinking alcohol than previous generations, which could be one reason for the rise in popularity in these booze-free drinks. Final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, we're going to learn about federal efforts to stop the production of fentanyl. Then on KOAM News at 6, have you ever wondered what it's like to be a patrol officer? KOAM's Amber Jenkins did a ride-along with a patrol officer in Pittsburgh. During the ride-along, Corporal Peterson shows how patrol officers' shifts can be unpredictable yet rewarding. Plus, a former Joplin gymnastics coach pleads guilty to child sex crimes, and we're going to have more on the importance of annual business inspections by the Joplin Fire Department. Stay with us. CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Paleontologists working in central India made a rare discovery, a fossilized dinosaur hatchery with 92 nests, 256 eggs. They belong to colonies of giant plant-eating titanosaurs that lumbered across what's now central India more than 66 million years ago. The findings suggested titanosaurs were not always the most attentive parents. They shared nesting behaviors with today's birds and crocodiles, such as laying eggs together in colonies or rookeries, but likely abandoning the eggs after laying them. Eggs are kind of hard to find these days. It's really hard to find them that are 66 million years old. Yeah, I throw those out if they're in their fridge, by the way. The weather.
Kind of chilly once again for us tomorrow, 46, partly sunny. Showers start to sneak in late Saturday and then a wintry mix Saturday night into Sunday morning.
Thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next. And of course, we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6. See you then. Let's make it a great evening.